All right, guys, I want to talk to you today about trigger control, okay? So I'm going to clear this pistol. Pistol's empty. I want to talk about the trigger control. There are two schools of thought. One of them is coming from military side, and one of them is more of a law enforcement civilian side. I think it's important that you understand and can use both very well, okay? Now, I've trained with a lot of military guys that they will teach you that when they draw their pistol and they come up on target, they're immediately taking the slack out of their trigger. So you could actually fire from here. Now, I've practiced this, I do this a lot, and I can fire from here, and I do hit the target to about 10 yards. You flatten out your gun, and you can continue to hit the target as you move forward, okay? So I can draw and take up slack, and the idea would be draw, take up slack with your trigger, and then when you can finally see your target, wherever that ended up, when you see your front sight hit the target, squeeze the trigger, okay? Now, that is I know that there's nothing else I can do. This guy's coming to get me and he's gonna kill me. So I come up and I squeeze trigger, right? Now, in the American world, in the law enforcement world, as a concealed carry CCW person, I don't believe in teaching this way or training this way, okay? What I believe in is draw your pistol, okay? Get your hand all the way extended and your finger still on register right here. See it? My finger's still here on register. The reason why is because Americans are not all Americans, but a lot of Americans are not hardened criminals. So in law enforcement especially, you can draw your pistol and tell them to put their gun down, freeze, run, do something, and they're still going to react to that, right? So as a civilian, I can draw my pistol and see a bad guy with a knife, a bat, a gun. Maybe a bunch of them are about to jump an old man. Maybe they're about to jump me. Maybe there's 4 or 5 guys. You know, I'm an injured person right now. I can't come out and fist fight you. And so they're about to jump me, so I draw my pistol. I'm like, whoa, back up. I'm justified in this because they can cause me great bodily harm. Maybe they've got a knife. There's a guy with a knife. I can be like, whoa, stop right there, don't move. My finger's still on register. It doesn't stop me from being able to say, boom, right? It's just as fast, right? Yes, this gives you an extra tenth of a second, but this is something I do when I know that there's a guy coming and I can't stop him. I don't practice like that. I practice like this. Draw, my hands on my trigger fingers on register, and if at any point in time I need to do this, I can do it, right? It's fast. It's not, it's a tenth of a second. It's nothing to be able to do this. But in America, even though we have the right to carry CCW and the right to defend ourselves, there are still a great portion of what you're doing where you don't have to fire on a guy. You can say, stop, put your hands up. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to stop. He's going to put his hands up. Now, he may not. He may come right at you, and then you can just pull the trigger and start your gunfight right there, right? Start stopping that threat. But there's a better chance that he's going to say, whoa. And I'm watching him. I'm watching him down. Put your hands up. Drop it right now. Drop it. He doesn't drop it. I can shoot him, right? So I would rather pull my gun out on somebody and hold them up, or pull my gun out and they take off running. I would rather do that. Now, mind you, this isn't somebody who just shot somebody. Somebody just shot somebody, I'm going to go ahead and shoot them until they're no longer a threat to them or me, okay? This is somebody who may have a gun and they're pointed on somebody. They may have a knife. They're about to kill you, or, they're about to charge you. I'm, whoa, dude, drop your knife. And if he keeps coming, then I pull the trigger. I would rather do this all day long and have to explain to a police officer why it is that I drew my gun on this guy and I didn't shoot him, and explain to him what the guy was wearing, what he did, what he took, and not get arrested that day, not have to get an attorney, not go to court for taking a man's life, right? Or just shooting a man multiple times. So I only want to do it when I don't have it, there's no other option. But a lot of times, just the threat of pulling your pistol on somebody and starting to give them loud, verbal, hard commands. Whoa, stop, put your hands up now. Let me see your hands. Do not move, drop your knife. This will stop them a lot of times, and they'll drop, because at that point they view you as an authority figure. They don't know if you're an off-duty cop. They don't know, but they do know that there's a gun drawn on them, and action's faster than reaction, I can always do this faster than he can turn or run at me, right? So it's not always that I'm just going to draw my gun and shoot a guy every time whenever you're carrying concealed. It's not like that. So I want you to think about that with your trigger control. I'm a firm believer. Leave your finger in register until you have to pull the trigger, and then just reach down and pull the trigger and end your threat, okay? I understand if you're a military guy, if you're a SWAT guy, drawing your pistol and already starting to depress the trigger as you're coming onto target. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the American concealed carry person who's out there and may come across this situation. I know that everybody will give you a hard time. Oh, just try pulling your gun out on somebody and see what happens. Well, I've seen it multiple times where concealed carry or just a concerned citizen pulls a gun out on somebody. The cops come, they listen to everything that happened, the cops say, good job. I actually have a buddy who is newer into CCW, and this was a couple of years ago. There was a guy that was trying to break in his house. He ran around to his backyard, drew on the guy while the guy had a knife, and the guy was running at him with a knife, and he fired a shot into the ground, and the guy dropped the knife and ran away. The police department came over, investigated the whole scene. They didn't arrest my buddy. They didn't take his gun. And then at the end of it, the chief of police came, personally shook my friend's hand and said, look, most of us would have taken this man's life or at least shot him multiple times to stop his action because he was using deadly force on you, but they didn't. They didn't take his gun. They didn't arrest him. They said, we commend you for trying to do something other than putting rounds into this person. So I know you think, because we get this rumor, oh, you pull a gun on somebody and now you're going to jail too. Okay, maybe that's even the case. Maybe that's worst case. You pulled your gun on somebody, you got a concealed carry license, this guy was a bad guy, you pulled your gun, they stopped, they left. So nobody got hurt that day, nobody died, nobody got shot. You're not having a $500,000, $600,000, maybe $1 million lawsuit on your hand where you lose everything like old George Zimmerman, and maybe they do arrest you. And then when you go to court, you hire a lawyer, it's $2,500. You hire a lawyer, he goes in, the judge looks at it, says this is stupid, and they drop all charges. They're not going to charge you. They can't charge you. That doesn't make sense. They're not going to charge you for pulling your pistol on somebody, stopping them from causing harm, but not actually putting rounds on them, okay? So this is very effective. Sir, put your gun down. Sir, put your hands up. Sir, get on the ground. This is very effective. And you don't want to be so trigger happy that you're immediately pulling the trigger on somebody. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. That's how I view it. That's how I viewed it for the last 20 years. But that's how I teach people. That's how I teach my kids. So ponder on it.